Yeah, when I came on last year, I had just surpassed episode 100. So it's funny, I speak to you again after hitting another milestone because I just passed episode 200. So there's the thing about milestones and Will Chase, it seems to go hand in hand with me. Anytime you're speaking with I just had, for example, Chief Joe Pfeiffer for my 200th episode, who was the first chief into the World Trade Center from the FDNY on 9/11. So, and I've been chasing him for about 5 years. Finally getting him was great. And he was particularly good to talk to. I mean, there's so many of them because listen, I was saying this on my show last night with the retired street crime detective. You could just be a police officer or fireman in New York, never move up the ranks, never become a detective or lieutenant or captain in either department. No detectives in the FDNY, obviously, but the point still stands. You could just stay at one rank and have more than your fair share of stories and fun and crazy, holy crap moments across a minimum of a 20-year career. But I think talking to the guys in the emergency service unit, which for those of you that don't know, that are not from New York, the emergency service unit of the NYPD is not like your conventional SWAT team. You see teams out across the country, they're SWAT and they're strictly SWAT. They only handle high leverage, highly dangerous criminal situations. In New York, the emergency service unit also does that, but they're half SWAT, half rescue. So if you have somebody that's on top of the Brooklyn Bridge threatening to jump, ESU cops are the ones that are going to go bring them down. If a building collapses and people are trapped, ESU cops alongside firemen are in there making the rescue. Somebody gets pinned in a car after an accident, ESU cops are making the extrication. So when you're talking to those guys and hearing their stories, not just of major events, but other things that maybe made headlines or maybe didn't, but that were major events in their respective careers, it's crazy. I remember talking to my buddy Lieutenant Ray McCormack from my Best of the Bravest FDNY miniseries. That guy was in one of the craziest rescues in FDNY history. It's a roof rope rescue, which is when they literally strap a guy into a rope and lower him down the side of a building. And this was a 14-story high rise. Two guys, the top floor of the building. This is back in 1991. It was a record label. It was a record company. So you have all this vinyl and stuff burning, which exacerbates the fumes, which exacerbates the fire as it is. And these two guys were going to jump. And they lowered down. Ray was hanging onto the rope for dear life. They lowered down Kevin Shea from Rescue One. They get these two guys out. Hearing that story was incredible. I did an interview for my Bomb Squad miniseries, Tales from the Boom Room, with a couple of my buddies about a job in 1997. These two guys from Hamas were gonna blow up the Atlantic Avenue subway, and they sent emergency service in to do the raid on these two guys. These two guys went and reached for the bombs, set them off. As they kicked down the door, they shot them both. Didn't kill them, but shot them both a combined 7 times. And then the bombs are still there. So the guys from the bomb squad had to go in and take care of the bombs and defuse them. So those stories, there's too many of them to pick one singular episode, but just to be on a first name basis with these guys, which is what I think I said last year, is incredible. Wow, these guys are really my friends. They did all this crazy junk. I could live a million lives, and I don't think I'll ever do anything as crazy as some of these guys. Good to be back on the show. Like I said, a lot has happened since you and I last spoke. I've seen your show and the interviews that you've been doing, and I can appreciate the hustle. I can. I didn't quite know what direction I wanted to take my show in when I first brought it back in 2020, and that's something I mentioned last year. But to just have the opportunity to find your footing as you go. Do I see myself doing the show forever? No, I'll probably take a lengthy break just to recharge my batteries at the end of the year and just do other stuff for a while. But it is something that, I can look back on with whatever endeavor I move on to next at some point in my 20s. I'm 22, I'll be 23 in February, and say, this shaped me, And I'm sure you feel the same way. When you look at how many episodes you've done, you're like, holy crap, how did I get here? But we fly by the seat of our pants, Will. Nobody's coming to get us but us. We're the content creators. It's the buck stops with us. We're the executive producers. We're the bookers. We're the on-air talent. But, I really appreciate what you're doing. I admire your work ethic, and I'm glad that we're both still around a year later doing what we're doing.